Hello? Okay. Now you should be able to hear me. Let's see. All right, welcome everybody to the High Altitude Investing live stream. Apparently my microphone wasn't working, so I just barely got it fixed. But looks like we got a few people tuning in. We'll kind of get going once we get a few more. If you guys want to get these live streams and know about them ahead of time, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. I'll drop the link right now into the live chat box. And then anytime that you guys want to get in on these streams before they actually happen, so you have a little bit of time to plan for them, you'll see the update usually 24 hours before the actual live stream when I post that. So what we're going to be talking about today is the general direction of cryptocurrency all through the beginning of 2018, kind of what I'm expecting, where I see the sell-off. We're going to be going over Bitcoin and then altcoin requests towards the end. So save up all of your altcoin requests and I'll let you know when to start dropping them into the public chat. But welcome everybody that's tuning in today. Let me just go ahead and get the live desk. Could somebody drop the link to this live video feed in the chat for me real quick? I just want to post in my Discord to make sure everybody knows that I'm streaming live so that we can get as many people tuning in as possible today. Notifications don't work on YouTube today. That's strange. No wonder we only got 13 people tuning in. I'll just go ahead and do a Discord announcement. If you guys could send me the link to this stream, that would be super helpful. Announcements. Somebody should drop it in. Send me the link to this stream. That would be super helpful. It's all good. Just turn it down a little. So, okay, there we go. Watch. Perfect. All right, so youtube.com, like, take this, at everyone. I'm just making a little Discord announcement real quick before we start doing TA on Bitcoin. Also, if you guys want to start saving up and writing down what altcoins you want me to do TA on for later, just go ahead and let me know. Just write those down and save them up. Live stream. Live stream. Okay, here we go. That should work. Or maybe. Oh, what the heck? What the heck? This actually isn't working, strangely enough. What percent right now? Oh, come on. I don't know if this live stream link is working. We'll see. Wow. Wow. So apparently that link didn't work. Sorry, you guys. It's just trying to let everybody in the Discord know before we get going here. Looks like we got 40 people so far. That's good. I'm just trying to get like 50 or so tuning in before we start doing TA on Bitcoin so we can get as many people watching at the same time so that if you have any questions and stuff, we can get to those. What's up, Galo? Good to see you tuning in. Amy, good to see you. Seeing a lot of people from my VIP areas. Welcome, everybody. Okay, yeah, so I'll just have to have somebody, if somebody could just literally drop the link somewhere, like whether even if you tweet it at me or something, I just need the link to my live stream and I'll share it once it's up and going. But yeah. Your portfolio's been going nuts lately? Yep, yep, mine too. New to my community, welcome Ram. Appreciate you joining and we're excited to teach you. Watch on other time, have fun. Sounds good, Michael. It will be uploaded later for viewing. You posted in Discord, Ram? Okay, cool. I will go see. Did you post it just in the normal cryptocurrency chat or like in the VIP lounge? Let me just scroll down here. Okay, there we go. Thank you guys. Yeah, now I'm just going to go into the announcements and switch my link up. For some reason, I don't know where to find the actual link to the streams. Oh, well, it looks like Primitive AI beat me to it. Okay, we can get going now. We could get going on the stream then. Cool. I just want to make sure everybody, since Dallin doesn't know how to work YouTube links. Yeah, I know, I'm sorry. I don't understand all the features of YouTube. Yeah. Okay, Bitcoin. Yeah, we'll start with Bitcoin, everybody's favorite and everybody's least favorite, you know, because if you're not good at trading, then you'll probably get wrecked by it. So let's start with the wave count on the expanded flat. Some updated stuff here. All right, so I was watching this Elliott sequence play out earlier. Specifically been doing a little bit of day trading on stuff like BitMEX. So I've been watching this Elliott wave count here, which would be like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Really big impulsive 5 waves in cryptocurrency. That's why the 1 wave is usually ridiculously tiny in comparison. But even if your wave count isn't perfect, the nice thing about Elliott waves is if you know the top of 5 waves, right? If you see the resistance and can start with the ABC, even if your initial first couple waves aren't on the perfect count, you still get to the same destination. So that's the really nice thing about learning Elliott waves is even if your wave count isn't perfect, your destination is always similar. All right, and then this would have been an expanded flat correction on the 1 hour candlesticks, like this. And then we have, with expanded flat, it's a 335. So what does that mean? We have an A, B, C, and then an A, B, C, because that's 3 waves down, 3 waves up, and then we have 5 waves down again. So we take this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in my opinion, the bottom is in place for Bitcoin. Now, obviously, you want to be really mindful of these support levels. If 11K is broken, then we've lost our momentum. That's possible. Is it likely? Not in my opinion. I see lots of increasing volume, and I don't see this market cycle as being done with. So do I see that as a likely option? No. But you also have to be aware of possibilities. So if Bitcoin was to break $11,000, we can retest 8. Now, what does that mean for Bitcoin? In my opinion, that just means that we had a healthy correction. I don't see cryptocurrency going into the bubble stages until we get trillions and trillions of market cap. So in my opinion, we're still a long ways away from the bubble. We're kind of in that first real wave up. And something I want to show you guys is a little video that I made of the previous fractal in Bitcoin, because it's actually pretty interesting if you analyze the fractals between what we've seen in the past with the 2013 Bitcoin market cycle. And then I don't like to call it a bubble because it's really just a market cycle. A bubble means that it's never going to go back up again, or that's basically the definition of a bubble. So I consider all of these market cycles. All right, then we go to my channel. Oops, actually Creator Studio. Gonna scroll down just a little bit here and then go to Video Manager. So I'm just gonna play you guys a little private video that I have. So I decided to analyze the fractals in correlation, and this is an unlisted video, so it's just for demonstration purposes. I'll drop the link right here. Let's see, so there you go for the link. But yeah, basically, this was me comparing the fractal of the 2013 pump to the fractal of the current pump that we're in. And why that is useful is because you can kind of determine what phase of the euphoria cycle or the market cycle we're in. And in my opinion, that huge sell-off between 20 to 10K was what's considered to be the first sell-off in a market cycle. And so I personally believe that Bitcoin will go to 30,000 plus and even higher through 2018 due to fractal analysis and the fact that we haven't hit euphoria on the logarithmic chart for Bitcoin. So with Bitcoin, we generally see these market cycles play out on the log chart. If you go to tradingview.com, in the bottom right corner, you can click on toggle log scale, and that will just kind of show you the logarithmic growth of Bitcoin, which keeps your perspective in place, which is why it's useful, because you kind of get to see the full perspective. Now, if you want to use logarithmic, I recommend using the Bitstamp exchange to do this. And the main reason for that is because Bitstamp doesn't have any weird wicking days. And that's really important for logarithmic, because if you have some really, really deep wicks, it kind of messes up the chart. I'll show you an example of what I'm talking about. I'll compare it to the logarithmic chart on Bitfinex. Do you see these huge wicks down here? Kind of makes it hard to see the rest of the chart. So I like to use the Bitstamp chart if I'm going to do logarithmic TA. See that? So you can kind of see the full chart easier. So what I'm looking for is something like this to happen on the logarithmic chart, where we get euphoria in the logarithmic market cycle. And I see this happening through 2018. If we break support at 11K, we might be held back down to 8K for a month or two. But overall, I see this as a bullish trend for the next couple of years. You know, maybe 2019, we start to have a sell-off. Either way, I see bullish movement for quite some time, because we're actually just kind of accumulating upwards on the logarithmic chart, which is why that fractal, it's nice to compare that fractal for the first sell-off, because you can see kind of that comparison, right? How the one chart hasn't hit euphoria yet. The fractal that we're in, the 2017 market cycle, hasn't hit the euphoria phase yet. And also another interesting thing is that if you compare the volume between these two fractals, the volume is almost exactly the same, which tells me that we are still in the early stages of Bitcoin's market cycle. Now, I have sold a lot of my Bitcoin off because I've been buying really early, and I'm just going to keep 25%, and I have still about 50% left because I was planning to sell another 25 off at 30, but we just haven't quite hit those levels yet. So I still have about half my position in Bitcoin, but I do plan on selling another portion off at 30 and keeping the rest for long term, because I don't really know how high it's going. And since I accumulate, you never want to call the top on a market. It's really bad. So you just kind of scale out of your position as you get profits and lock in those gains, so that when you have another dip day, you can use that US dollar and that fiat to dump back into the crypto markets. So do we have any questions about everything that I am talking about with Bitcoin? So fractals, all a fractal is a mathematical pattern that expands in the same way. So if you have a certain pattern, it'll get bigger, it'll expand and grow, but look the same. So, you know, if you just Google fractal, you can find a lot of really interesting pictures of fractals. And basically it's, this, you know, as you can see, each pattern is the same in and of itself, but it expands and grows in the same fashion. So a fractal could be anything. Elliott wave theory is technically a fractal, which is why it always repeats. But also you can find other types of fractals. It doesn't just have to be Elliott waves. There's other ones as well. Let's check here. Is 8,000 more likely before 30? No. In my opinion, we will see 30 long before 8. I don't think we'll see, we might never see an $8,000 Bitcoin again. It's possible, but I would, for the next year or two, I think that we're likely to go to 30,000 plus. It is a possibility to touch 8. I'm well aware of that. I'll buy more. But again, watch that support level at 11K, because if that's broken, that will be the drop, you know, down to 8. So, but right now, this all looks like healthy consolidation. We're still holding onto the 12-hour cloud very nicely. This 12-hour cloud has basically worked as perfect support for Bitcoin. This is why I like the Ichimoku cloud so much. If you want to use the Ichimoku cloud, you can click on indicators. I personally recommend having a very minimal amount of indicators if you're a beginner to trading. But a couple I recommend are the relative strength index, volume. If you accidentally delete volume on your chart, it's essential. So make sure you always have the volume. And I use volatility occasionally, but that's something that you probably don't really need to worry about too much right now if you're a beginner to this. I would just worry about the Ichimoku cloud, the RSI, and volume. Those are the real indicators that you want. So if you want to add the cloud to your trading view, click right here on indicators. And then under the search bar, type in Ichi. And by the way, TradingView is free for anybody to sign up. I pay for it because I really support what they're doing, and it's a great service and product. So I highly recommend it to anybody. But if you want to get into this, it's also free, so you don't have to pay at the start. And you can do all of this TA yourself, which I recommend learning how to do it on your own. I do provide signals for my VIPs so that they can get a feel for what it's like to get profiting, but I really believe that people should learn how to fish and not just get handed fish. So I like to teach this stuff, and I like to have people learn it for themselves because I find that they make better trading decisions even if they're copying trades, if they know and understand it for themselves. So I recommend doing that, signing up for tradingview.com and learning how to do these charts. Might look a little complicated, but honestly, once you kind of break it down, it's just understanding support and resistance, which is basically just horizontal lines and diagonal lines. And once you kind of get that down and then learn how to count your waves, it's a lot simpler than it looks. So yeah, you click on this Ichimoku cloud. Once it's added to your chart, you'll want to click on the setting thing up in the top left. It will say format, looks like a little setting arrow. I take away the conversion, the baseline, the lead, and the lead 2 because personally I find these completely useless because I use the Ichimoku cloud for support and resistance. So I just only leave the plots background on, and then I just make it plain see-through green and see-through red. And then on the inputs, this is really important because cryptocurrency is a 24-hour marketplace, whereas a stock market has open and closing times. So the settings that you use on Ichimoku Cloud is actually different than what you use in the stock market or Forex markets. So you want to use 20, 60, 120, 30 as the settings for the Ichimoku Cloud. And like I said, that's just because it's a 24-hour marketplace. So those are the inputs for the cloud based on that. Because there's never a time that it opens and closes. It's running at all times. And then that will give you this nice cloud. And if you want the 12-hour candlesticks, you can add time frames down here. If you just click the drop-down menu, and then you can click 12, and then switch this to hours, and then press add, and it'll add that time frame. But yeah, the 12 hours, what's holding our support. I personally expect this to be the bottom. We're moving in this channel here. Very nice. Again, this is a potential bear flag. I'm aware of the pattern because it is possible. You have to, like, awareness is key. So if we break support down, this could be a bearish flag pattern. But it being the probable outcome, no. I see this having continuation due to the Elliott wave count. And that's what I base my trading on, is Elliott's, because it has proven to work significantly, specifically with Bitcoin, because it paints these really, really vivid waves on the way up. All right, so do we have any questions about everything that I've been talking about? When do you think Bitcoin is going up again? So yeah, I think that Bitcoin will be up to 18,000 by, let's see, today is Tuesday. By mid next week, we should be back up to those levels if support holds at 14,000. So watch that 14,000, and then that 11,000 would, if that's broken, would confirm the move down to 8. But if on the short term for the next 2 weeks, if Bitcoin holds 14,000, then I expect 18 by mid next week, because it should move something like this. Oops. Let me pull this down. Oops. Okay, pull this down. Yeah, so this is 5-wave action for Bitcoin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Like this. Right? So that's why I personally think that Bitcoin will be taking off through this next week rather than dropping down. Now, if we do have a drop, as long as support holds at 8, it still follows Elliott wave theory. So the rule is that the 4 can't break below the 1. So as long as the 1 holds its support at 8,000, then we could still easily see the wave up, and it's likely we would see the wave up past 30 again, even still. Now, do I see that as a likely outcome? No, because that would be a really deep correction for how bullish this market is. I'd expect something like that. The bottom being in place at 11.8. So do we have any questions about that? Okay, I use Excel sheets to keep track of trades. Can you show Elliott waves for BTC? Yeah, so basically this is the current wave count for Bitcoin in its 5th wave. Generally, we find that Elliott's look really, really like this. And that would be the 5th wave of the 3, by the way. This is 3 waves still. So here's the 1 wave, where we went from 1,500 to 3,000, then pulled back to 2. And now we've started this super parabolic 3 wave, which is bringing us up to, like I said, 30,000 plus. 5 waves are usually pretty big in crypto, so it wouldn't surprise me if we way overshoot 30,000 in this wave. And then we'll have a crazy correction in the spring, along with everything, including the altcoins, like mid-late spring. And that will have the opportunity for us to get in at the bottom of the 4 wave before we have another bullish market cycle in cryptocurrency towards the end of 2018. So that's kind of how I see all of the timing. That's why I titled this video, What Will Cryptocurrency Do in the Spring? Because I personally think that we're pumping for the beginning of this year and then dumping probably like mid-late spring, maybe early summer. We don't know exactly, but we'll watch the top of that 5th wave and see how things get. And we'll scale out. We'll be selling into the top of this 5th wave through the spring and be accumulating USDT and US dollar in places like Gemini or your bank for the 4 wave, you know, the 4 wave down that we're going to see, and everybody, all the noobs are going to get shook out and everybody's going to think crypto's dead. Same story over and over. And then we'll buy the dip crazy at 20,000 per coin and prepare for the you know, wave up from there. So that's my personal opinion on Bitcoin's current wave count. Should I take and move my profits now? No, you shouldn't. You should sell into the 5th wave. You would never sell this low. You're in the bottom of a 4 wave. This is buying opportunity still. So you'd be selling where other people are buying. You want to sell when everybody's too excited. You know, right here, when it goes up out of 5th waves, 30,000 per coin and plus. Because if you sell now, you're cutting yourself short of all of that movement. And then you might end up buying halfway up, and then it might not go quite as high as you think, and you might get wrecked, you know? So it's really about buying at the bottom of 2 and 4s in the dips when nobody's confident in the market. So as counterintuitive as that sounds, you buy when everybody thinks is dead, when nobody's confident in the market, like right here and right here. Nobody's confident in Bitcoin right now. In fact, I've been the only person, one of the only people, and even major technical analysts that I look up to have been very unconfident in Bitcoin's price for the past few days, which I respect their opinions, but I see this differently than them. And I think that it's purely because even people that are really, really good at this can still kind of get caught in the emotional market cycles in the bottoms of 2s and 4s. And especially with crypto, people panic sell the bottom after an ABC. This is, yeah, ABCs always wreck crypto traders and noobs because they end up selling the bottom of the C wave because they bought the top of the 5. That happens a lot because crypto gets so hyped that by the time people are making fundamentals and like dropping news about it and telling the general public to get in, you've already experienced the 5 wave. You have to be getting in on stuff when nobody cares about it, when everybody hates it. Like BitShares, I made a video a while ago recommending everybody to buy BitShares, and like I got anger comments from people on my video. Oops. Remove all drawing tools, or maybe it was an email. Either way, somebody mentioned to me that they were frustrated that I was telling people to buy BitShares right here. They said that I was frustrated. They were frustrated with me. And that's honestly how I knew that I was telling them to buy at the right time, was because they were so stuck in that emotional market cycle that they told me I was, making a bad decision to buy something that dead. What now? He could have sold the bottom of it. I don't know. I don't even remember who it was, but I just remember that happening when I posted the signal for BitShares. And it was when I posted the video, it's like 8 cents, and then it fell to like 5 cents. But I mentioned that it would be accumulating, and then we saw this huge parabolic pump afterwards. So basically, if you averaged in from when I made that video, let's just say that your average entry wasn't even at the bottom of the C wave. Let's be generous and say that you bought at 9 cents or 9.5 cents. Even from there, 640% since I made that video. And that's just because I bought at the bottom of an ABC correction. I wasn't scared because I understand market cycles. That's the best risk to reward, when everybody hates the damn thing, when nobody wants the coin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody hated BitShares right here. Bittrex delisted it. Bittrex delisted and fudded the market on purpose. I'll call them out. I don't care. They delisted and fudded this shit right here on purpose so that they could buy the dip, prepare for this, and sell all of their BitShares onto Poloniex when it starts pumping. And, whatever. There's a lot of manipulation in cryptocurrency markets, but if you understand the Elliott waves, you don't even care if there's manipulation. Because, you do to a certain point, but because it's wrong, but you still don't care because overall, if there's manipulation in the markets, it's just going to increase volatility, and volatility is profitable. So even though I understand that from a fundamental perspective, it's wrong, the amount of manipulation that happens, but from a trader perspective, it's actually extremely profitable. So that's just something that you have to be mindful of. People get mad about the manipulation, which is understandable because they feel like they're getting caught up in it, but it's really only because they don't understand market cycles and Elliott waves. Because if you understand market cycles and Elliott waves, it's almost impossible to get caught in the manipulation, because the manipulation is done by whales that trade with Elliott waves and stuff like that. So yeah, so if you're on the same frequency as the people causing the manipulation, it doesn't even matter in a grand scale of like profits. But I do agree that from a perspective of morals, it's wrong. All right. Okay, now let's start getting requests on coins. Let's let the chat go wild. We got 30 more minutes left. Let's do some altcoin TA. BitShares. LTC, classical Litecoin. Litecoin reminds me of the TRX chart. Here, I'll show you exactly. LTC dollar. But it's holding support much better than the TRX chart, which is interesting, which just tells me that it hasn't done its fifth wave yet, where TRX actually has done its fifth wave. So this would be the first wave of Litecoin. So Litecoin and Bitcoin seem to be super correlated right now. They basically did the exact same correction. Well, most altcoins did the same correction as Bitcoin. They generally follow Bitcoin, but Litecoin specifically seems to be a little more defined as being similar to the Bitcoin chart. All right, and then we go like this. 1, 2, and then we can do 3, 4, 5. 3 waves are always bigger than the 1 wave. 1 waves generally look really small in comparison. Everybody's all mad because Charlie Lee dumped his LTC, and honestly, I think the guy isn't lying. I think that he's just legitimately concerned that people were frustrated with him because they thought that he owned a bunch of Litecoin. And so he said that he sold his holdings in it, which I don't see him as lying, because if he could have spent like a little bit of money to hire a technical analyst, and anybody that's good at technical analyzing, and somebody like Charlie Lee would definitely find somebody good at it, would see that there's more upward movement in Litecoin left. And so it just doesn't make sense to me that he would, if he was doing it purely for the purpose of wanting to financially gain and dump his coins, he would have waited until we go more parabolic. So I really do believe that he dumped his coins because he doesn't want his community thinking that he's manipulating the market. So I believe his statement there. I know a lot of people thought that that was really bearish for Litecoin because they're like, the developer dumped his coins. But as you know, I don't care at all about news or fundamentals because they have zero effect on the, well, they might initiate market cycles, but it doesn't matter because I can still trade the waves within that market cycle. So even though the news or fundamentals might technically have an effect on it, you can't predict what that effect will be. You can only use Elliott waves and technical analysis to trade the effect that comes after. But yeah, so this is kind of the wave count for Litecoin, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we need to do this, right? Have a nice 5 wave up. So that's my thoughts currently. Again, it could retest $106, and as long as it holds support at 106, the rule is that the 4 can't be below the 1. So it'd still be following Elliott wave theory. All right, let's do Civic. Civic dollar. All right, so this is actually one that I was explaining was a fractal that I was used to. In one of my, I don't know when I was making this drawing, but Civic, this is my free Christmas signal. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I'll just go ahead and drop that link again just because, get as many Twitter followers. Follow me on Twitter, please. Shout out to myself. Anyways, so if you follow me on Twitter, you'll probably see that I have all kinds of predictions on here. Some of them are public for free. Most of my predictions are actually VIP only, which I'm going to talk a little bit more about towards the end here in about 15 minutes. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to talk about my VIP stuff and give you guys a discount for that. But I posted on here, where was it? Wasn't that long ago. Civic, maybe it would be under media. Yeah, it's definitely going to be media. Bullish market. So yeah, I'm just trying to find the Civic call. Here it is. So Civic was my Merry Christmas call for everybody. It said that it's going to go 480% because it started its 3 wave out of new bullish market cycle. And then I was pointing out how it reminds me of the fractal that Bitcoin made in 2015. So this is an example of why you can have a fractal and it doesn't have to be Elliott waves. Because that guy was actually talking in the chat earlier and said, mentioned fractals and Elliott waves, and I continued to explain, how it doesn't have to be Elliott waves and still be a fractal. Okay, remove all drawing tools. So here's the fractal that I see playing out in Civic. You have this really drastic breakout, and then you have a pullback to about half of the market value from that parabolic breakout, and then you have a strong bounce, a retrace to that same point, and then a strong breakout afterwards. This is the same thing that Bitcoin Cash is doing. Bitcoin Cash Tether. Oops. Pull over here. We have this really parabolic breakout, falls back down to support, comes back up, falls back down to support, and then has this crazy breakout upwards. And then, we can expect that this trend will hold, in my opinion. And we'll just see bullish continuation, similar to, this looks exactly like Bitcoin in 2015. Exactly. So, I see bullish movement here for Bitcoin Cash. I'm not, I don't trade fundamentals, even though I don't really like the guy that made Bitcoin Cash because I think Litecoin does everything it does, but I trade chart patterns and it's going up. All right. So yeah, back to the Civic chart, kind of looking at that same fractal. It's not quite as far along in its fractal. It still needs to kind of come back up, and then it's starting to kind of come down here, but it might take a month before we see this really break out again on the upside. But when it does, it will come retest the top of this high at $3, and then basically when we test that high, it will be 480% from our entry. So yeah. Cryptocurrency, right? All right. TRX. Yeah, TRX. I actually did TA on TRX earlier today, so I'm just going to go ahead and drop my TradingView link. Please go look at my charts on there, thumbs them up, drop questions in the comments if you have them. I just dropped the link in the chat here. I'll drop it one more time so that you guys can click on it if you missed it the first time. Page doesn't exist. We'll just go to tradingview.com, click under search, and type in Dallin Anderson and Dallin Anderson, and then just press enter, and I'll come right up here. I'm a top trader on TradingView. There's been a few times that I was in the top 10 traders in the world for a few weeks, so that was really fun. Plan to get back up in those leaderboards again down the road. But here is my Tron prediction. TRX. I was actually the top 3 for a week trader. TRX, BTC. Oops, come on. Now, this is why you can't hold on to bullish markets. This is why you can't trade fundamentals, because you have to be able to stomach volatility. And with TRX, we're going to have some volatility. I think it will touch 420 Satoshis before starting another bullish market cycle. And, once it touched 420 Satoshis, it could go to 15K plus Satoshis, 15,000 Satoshis or higher. But it will correct through this period of time. I see an ABC correction back down to 420 Satoshis. Now, this is another good example of emotional market cycles. Everybody here is literally mad at me. Oh God, don't make this happen. Your 5-wave is actually the 3-wave. The 3rd wave must be the biggest trading volume. Not a real rule of Elliott waves, so that's kind of a falsifying of his position, in my opinion. It's just people are like, hope you're wrong. This doesn't seem likely. I think we are going to hit an all-time high right after. That is really the exact same emotional psychology of a bull trap. feeling like it's going to return to normal. So let's look at the market cycle photo. So people are commenting the exact, like literally when people comment stuff like that, it just makes me realize that I'm definitely right. Because new paradigm, denial, bull trap, see, return to normal phase of the market cycle. They're going to get caught in fear, capitulation. That's one word I've never been able to pronounce. Capitulation. Yeah, I've just never been able to pronounce that word. I apologize. But yeah, it's just understanding the cycle in general. You don't even have to understand all the enthusiasm, greed, delusion, new paradigm. You don't even have to understand that. But if you can visually see this pattern, then you know, right? And if we look at TRX on the chart here, I'll just kind of go into a little more detail. If we look at the chart and then we go on to 6 hour, this looks like a descending triangle to me. Remove all drawing tools. We have descending prices, so we're not making higher highs. We're making lower lows. Yes, we do have some support in between the range of 760 Satoshis to 900 Satoshis about. And if you don't know, a Satoshi is the smallest fraction of a Bitcoin. If anybody's new to this, that's the absolute smallest fraction. Now, something that I find in cryptocurrency is that the 1 waves end up being like this a lot of times, and then the 3 waves end up being like this, and the 5 waves end up being like this. So this kind of ends up being like the cryptocurrency fractal, I find. Tiny 1 waves that people don't even realize they happen, and then 3 waves that end up being crazy, so people get a little hyped about it, and then the 5 waves are so crazy it doesn't even make sense anymore, like that. And so what happened with TRX, if you go analyze the previous fractal, here's our first market cycle down here. So that's the 1 wave. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we can zoom out, go over here. Oops, I'm gonna have to kind of redraw this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So people are trying to say that TRX is at the top of its 3 wave. It's not. Go find the previous market cycles. Go count the Elliott waves. Go count the subwaves inside of those waves. And you'll find that this is the actual market cycle. 1 started here. 3 started here. And the 5 is over with. We also have declining volume. So we're losing buying pressure, starting to get more sellers. So it's very likely. Now, I'm not bearish on TRX long term. I'm just saying that short term, we have an ABC correction down to 420 Satoshis, or the top of this 3 wave is very likely here. And then, yeah, we could buy. You can start buying again because it's likely that that's the beginning of a new, very bullish market cycle because, yeah, this coin has a lot of hype and a lot of buying pressure. So it's likely it starts bullish market cycles after that, you know, and that's why I say that on the short term, looks like it's time for correcting. And on the bigger picture, we could easily pass 15,000 Satoshis down the road like this, you know. We still have to have a 3 and a 4 wave. So any noobs will get shook out along the way. And anybody that doesn't understand market cycles will get shaken out on the way. But 15,000 plus more long-term through 2018 for TRX. Okay, let's go check the live. Salt. But yeah, when people when people start commenting and trying to hold on to the chart like this in my comments, I almost always know that I'm right. It's funny because like that's all because they're holding on, right? They don't want me to be right. And so that generally means that they made an impulsive decision and bought the top of the market. And they know it deep down, and so that's why they really don't want me to be right. And even if I'm wrong, you know, even if I'm wrong, I trade Elliott wave theory and I have a probability. So even if that 125% chance of me being wrong happens, or 25, 30%, sometimes is a little less if I don't quite do my TA as perfect as normal. But even if I am wrong that one time and all these people end up being right, I don't care because over the long term, I'm going to be right more than them, right? 70% probability in my favor. I'm not gambling. I'm not trading based on hype or news. I'm using statistical odds. So that's why when I teach people to learn this stuff, the first things I tell them to do, market cycles and Elliott waves, because that's how you learn how to trade. Market cycles. You can trade Forex this way, you can trade stocks this way, it literally does not matter. You can find Elliott waves anywhere. So that's why I use it, because it gives you some theory behind what you're doing. And not just, oh, I think this is going to go up because they just partnered with this, and that. You know, like I told people to buy Stellar. This is another great example of why people always like to blame the news article on why something went up when it's not the news article. Like I posted an entry for Stellar Lumens. Hold on, remove all drawing tools. I started telling people to accumulate Stellar Lumens based on Elliott wave theory and market cycles down here at, let's see, yeah, 13 cents. So 13 cents was that point in which I started, and that's because I use Fibonacci retracements too. So fibs are the other useful thing. Elliott waves, market cycle, Fibonacci. There's your research for the week. But yeah, a lot of times in crypto, we touch the .786 and the .88 before starting another bullish market cycle. So we like to buy the dips at 786 and 88% retracements. Sometimes 618 and really, really bullish markets. But as far as like the first wave goes, I find it followed back to the 786 and 88 a lot. So I posted buy signals purely because of a market cycle and technical analysis down at these low levels. And then, what do you know? IBM gets a partnership with Stellar Lumens right here. IBM partners with them. And then everybody blames the news article on this price move. They blame IBM on this, when really it was a market cycle. They probably could have made any news article at all that was you could basically use any article. And if you're good at convincing people that it means a lot for the coin, which all of these companies are really good at convincing people that these partnerships and news things are good for the coin, which we actually don't even know until their partnership like lasts a little while, you know, until we see if they can actually work together, you know, Stellar Lumens and IBM. We don't even know if this is a good partnership or not. It could wreck the coin. It really could. I don't see that as likely because we still have a 4 and then a 5 wave, you know, with lumens. But it just goes to show that people love to blame everything on fundamentals and news, when if you understand technical analysis and market cycles, you're way ahead of the game already. So with Stellar, I don't want you guys to get caught holding onto the top. I posted some warning signals for this on my Twitter. Just basically a friendly reminder to lock in profits. I'm keeping some 25% of my Stellar Lumens long-term for life, as well as XRP. But on the short term, I tweeted out, this is why I think you should follow me on Twitter at highaltitudeinv, that Stellar Lumens look bearish on the short term. Now, why is that? Technical analysis again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, let me fix these because, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, it's just short-term bearish. This is like TRX, right? Very short-term bearish. We'll probably come touch the top of this one wave. We're pretty close to it down here at like 16, 20 cents again. And this is a great example of why one waves are always so tiny in comparison to 3 waves in cryptocurrency. Oops. Control Z. Let me switch back. Okay. 1 wave. So there's the 1 wave, and then here's the 3 wave in comparison. So after this, then we go like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then everybody gets rich again and Stellar goes to $2 plus. You know, so after the correction, you know, mid-spring, late spring, early summer, I don't know exactly when, like I said, we'll have this really, really nice 5-wave up across the entire map. So that's why I tell you guys to be selling out, taking profits on some of these ones that are at the top of their 5 waves, like Stellar and XRP. And then we will be kind of accumulating them. These ones will actually be selling off earlier. So these ones look like they'll be kind of in their dips by 0310 or somewhere around there. And then Bitcoin might be a little later than that in its dip, like 0428. Generally, they're just like a little bit off from each other, like a month or two or a few weeks. That's just because the whales don't want everything to pump at once, because they make more money if they can get in and out of lots of different things at different times. So yeah, that's kind of my short-term thoughts on Stellar. I know a lot of people in my VIP made a ton of money off that because of my signal. So congratulations to everybody. This is how I see the Ripple TA as well over the next little while. So yeah, they're at the top of their 5s. They need to ABC, and then I think they'll make ascending triangles and break out from there, you know, and make these huge 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parabolic waves up. So although short term I'm bearish on XRP and Stellar, after these corrections, I do see more upward movement in these coins. Stellar is my personal favorite, moves more percentage than XRP does. So, okay, let's go check the live dashboard on any questions. RDD. So, Eddie, generally, if you want to find targets, you actually use trend-based fib extensions, okay, for targets, and you use previous support and resistance. So let's open RDD because that's one that somebody just requested, and I'll explain what that means. So this is one people were asking me a little bit about in my Discord the other day. They were like, Dallin, what do you think of RDD? They were kind of curious, and I was like, well, I like the risk to reward ratio because we were down right here. It was like 15 cents on that day, or it may have been in this wick, one of these two wicks down, 11 or 15 cents. And I said, hey, that looks like a really good risk to reward. And then sure enough, the next like couple hours, we saw 100% pump, or those are 2-hour candlesticks. So like the next day, we saw 112% in that coin. So that just goes to show like some of the, oops, got a little something on my keyboard I gotta fix real quick before it, all right, there we go. Sorry about that. So that just goes to show like some of the value provided in my VIP. People just come in here and ask questions, and I just give them my honest thoughts, just like these streams. And I usually have a few days a week that I hop on there at least. So a lot of times I'm on there like all weekdays. Usually on the weekends I take some time away from Discord, but yeah, any weekdays you can expect me to be in there helping people or one of my moderators. And you can always direct message questions and stuff, and I have admins and moderators go run through all my direct messages all the time and my emails. So yeah, this is basically what we would like to see as, this is the 3-wave right here actually starting. So this was the 1-wave, 1, 2, 3, 4, oops, 5. So let me just actually do this. This right here was the 1-wave. Okay. And then this is still the 3-wave right here. We're making the 3-wave. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think that we'll have another pump up out of this, like this, because this is the 3-wave, this is the 1-wave. And then we'll have ABC, correction, back down to the top of support, because usually after a major breakout in resistance, we end up testing support again right here. As you can see, we've fallen back onto the major breakout. So this is actually a good time to be buying. A lot of times if you have a major breakout in resistance and then it falls back onto support, that can be a prime time to get in on a coin. And then, you know, generally you have this kind of 5-wave come out of this, and then this will look crazy because that 1-wave is always so small in crypto that it'll be like this. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I'll just delete the subwave so it's a little easier for you guys to understand if you're new to this. Okay. Because basically Elliott waves means that there's waves within waves. So you can count the waves in any time frame, 15 minute, 1 minute, hour, yearly, it doesn't matter. You could count the waves in it. Like you could count the waves on the S&P 500 and see that we have a bullish market for quite some time. So, you know, it's the US dollar right now that's losing value. It's not cryptocurrency, it's not stocks, it's not oil, it's the US dollar that's losing value right now. And on my trading view, I also posted that I see the dollar retesting 66 cents. And that sounds crazy because that's the levels we saw in 2008 was 71 cents. So it's likely we could see the dollar come all the way down to 66 cents at the bottom of this channel between now and 2020. And if we see that happen with the dollar, if it goes down to 66 cents, no wonder we're going to have trillions and trillions and trillions in crypto market cap and trillions and trillions and trillions in NASDAQ market cap. Yeah, it's a bubble over across the entire, well, it's a market cycle across the entire map, but we have until 2020, from what I can see based on the dollar, before a real bounce in that bubble, you know, because once the dollar lands onto sport, generally then we have a fallback in all of that value growth, because it really is the fact that the dollar is just worth less, and it's not really that these things are getting like that much more in value. So let's check out the S&P 500, because you guys, it's just getting driven in value. And people are always like, well, isn't the stock market going to crash? Isn't the world going to end? Yeah, the stock market will crash. It always does. Because it's a market cycle, just like we saw the ABC correction in 2008 and that B to the C wave that everybody got really frustrated over, which people, it was, you know, there was a fundamental aspect behind it, but it was also predictable through TA because of the top of the 5 wave. Okay. And people say that, oh, it's impossible to predict that. Nobody could predict that. You can predict that. People did. Lots of people did. They just don't like to talk about how lots of people did, because they like to make people think that nobody knows what's going on with the markets. Because why? Because then people can manipulate and control their value easily. So in my opinion, S&P 500 bullish, very bullish, till, you know, same time crypto starts to see a little bit of a bigger correction. We might hit closer to 5,000 on the S&P 500 before that ABC again. So that's my opinion on that. Let's see. ADA. What's up, Devin? Thank you for tuning into my stream, man. It's good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Okay. ADA, USDT. Okay, I actually have to use the Bitcoin chart to do this TA, only because they don't have the auto-calculated dollar chart that TradingView normally has, and the Tether chart just doesn't have enough data currently. Yeah, so this is topping out the same way that Ripple is, kind of like this head and shoulders too expansive. So let's look here. 2, 3, 4, 5. So I don't think it'll go quite down to the bottom of the one. Might test to 6 and then go from there. So that's kind of my thoughts on ADA. Correction time short term. Too parabolic in that move. It reminds me of XRP actually, and I was doing TA on the XRP Bitcoin chart last night as well, because you still can, it's a little less effective. I would prefer the dollar, but sometimes I'll do TA on both, and I see a head and shoulders pattern forming on Ripple, and one of the things with head and shoulders patterns is the volume needs to mirror the head and shoulders, and this one clearly does. The left shoulder, we have an increase in volume. The head, we have an increase in volume. And the right shoulder, we're getting an increase in volume. So this pattern is a very high probability of playing out. And so if support is broken, the way that the head and shoulders pattern works is support of the neckline right here. Here's the neckline. If that is broken at, let's see, what's the exact number? 15,000 Satoshis, 14,000 Satoshis, this kind of range right here. If it's broken below, then that will confirm the move, because you can measure, head and shoulders pattern is a measurable move. You measure from the top of the head to the bottom of the neckline, and then draw that line from the break, and that gives you your target. So our target would be 5,000 Satoshis, which is about 67% drop from current prices, which is why you have to scale out, take profits, leave a little bit in long term so that it can ride through the market cycles, but take majority of your positions out when everybody's too excited about stuff, you know. So that's kind of my thoughts on that. Burst, yeah, we can do burst. And then I'm just gonna run over my VIP stuff for you guys, and we'll call it a stream because it's starting to get a little over my time. Okay, burst coin dollar. This one has been on Poloniex for a long time. This is one of the coins that I learned what complacency was when I was learning market cycles on Poloniex. Burst Bitcoin, and I'll show you why. Oh yeah, you can still see my chart. Okay, so I made this chart forever ago. Well, not that long. This was in May, but it wasn't exactly the best TA, I'll put it that way. And the reason is I was trading an ascending triangle formation, we broke out, but it ended up actually being complacency in its market cycle. And if I would have understood market cycles just a little bit better at the time, I wouldn't have got caught in this complacency zone. But what do? You live and learn. Accept your mistakes. That's the only way to grow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we have A, B, C, down. And this is the Bitcoin chart, but you can still count the waves. Might be a little different. And we've started this new bullish market cycle. So let's go to burst dollar. So we can do some real TA on this. This is basically doing the same thing that we see in all the other coins, where we have this nice, all of these coins are doing the same exact thing. We have that one wave, and then we're starting the 3. So really, if you can find coins that have already started the one wave but haven't started these 3s, email them to me. Because right here, once they start these 3 waves like this, it's really time to get in. And you could usually see, because they start to round, you can get in early because they start to round out on these bottoms. So look for those rounded bottoms at the bottom of these market cycles, those one waves. Like this, these little bumps, and find those rounded bottoms, and then they're always about to make 3 waves. So this one has started its 3 wave up and out. So we've started up and out, and we'll probably see something similar to the way Digibyte and Stellar Lumens, or the way that Stellar Lumens played out and Digibyte will, is these big parabolic 3 waves like this. And they usually go way higher than you ever expect. Here is the example of how to calculate targets for those Elliott waves with the trend-based fib extensions. So generally what happened with Stellar was it actually did 2 of these. So I can clone. Stellar almost did 3 of these too before its top, or maybe it did, but I'm just showing this as like an example, because this is also why you don't know the top of a market, and why you have to scale out of it, because there's no real way to perfectly predict the top of a market. There's some things that can kind of help you avoid buying the top, but you can't really perfectly predict the top of anything. So this could go all the way up here, even higher, or it could stop like here at 20 cents But if you've been buying down here, then you should be selling all the way up, you know, scaling out, taking profits here, here, here. And if it goes up to here, set your stop loss here. And if it falls back down, you get stopped out in profit. So that's kind of like, how I would play this market, I guess. But yeah, it's basically the same setup as Digibyte. But anyways, that is everything for today's stream. We're going to just quickly go over my VIP stuff here for you guys. highaltitudecrypto.io. This is my website. I've got a new one. It's going to be out probably February. It looks way better than this one. This one looks really nice as well, but the new website has a built-in forum, a members area for all of the VIPs. It's going to have like all of the VIP videos a little bit more organized. I'm remaking some of them too, by the way. Already started recording them. The TradingView course is completely finished and recorded. I'm just getting ready to release that along with the website. Already gave it to my mastermind VIPs, which if that's something that you're interested in, go ahead and email me about that at highaltitudeinvesting.com. But I've basically got a lot coming this spring between like February. I don't know the exact release date, but I'll keep you guys updated on my Twitter for all of the new website stuff. But here's my current website. And when you come here, let me just Control C and I will post this in the live dashboard here. Right here. Okay, there's the live dashboard. And by the way, for all the people asking me about taxes, just get a hold of a tax consultant. Any tax consultant that knows anything about taxes should be able to help you, because it's just working with capital gains tax, you know, like real estate tax. So just go get yourself a tax consultant. Mine's my uncle. Like, you know, my uncle isn't good with crypto. He doesn't even understand it, but he understands taxes, and that's all they need to know. So if you are worried about the tax stuff going on, just take the time. It's always better to be aware of your financial situation than to be worried about it. So if you're worried about taxes, stop worrying and be aware. Get a hold of a tax consultant and talk with them about it. But don't let that hold you back from trading cryptocurrency, because there's way too much money to be made doing this to let a little bit of a tax difference scare you out of it. So that's my opinion on all of that. But on my website, you can click on this blue or this purple box, Become VIP. I have a yearly option and a lifetime option. In the description of my stream here, you can see the code, which is, where is it? Scroll up. CryptoMoon18. So if you use that at checkout, and I'll show you how to do that. So let's just click on this. Actually, let me just click on this. There. And then when we're at checkout, you can just click apply coupon and then type in the code, which is CryptoMoon18, apply coupon, and then that will take 20% off of any purchase. So that is my discount for the live stream for everybody that stayed tuned into this towards the end. Basically what my Discord is it's signals, so people can copy all of my trades, and then it's like questions, so you can direct message me. I have members and moderators in here you can direct message as well. And there's video course, so it's about 40 videos, and then there's also the lifetime video course that comes with if you buy the lifetime. And if you're interested in my highest level of my product, which is still exclusive and limited room basically, it's called Mastermind VIP. And what I do is every single Saturday, I tune in with you guys live, just like this, but it's more personalized because we have a lot less people in there. And then we all get on the Masterminds chat group right here, and we just talk about crypto. We talk about maybe some more personalized questions about their portfolios, coins that they're holding, if there's anything that they're back holding, what they can do with it. And then I teach technical analysis. I teach you how to do Elliott waves, all of that good stuff. So if it's something that you're interested in, email me. It is exclusive and limited. So probably won't have a lot of openings left for long for that, but just wanted to let anybody know that really wants to get into this and really get their feet in to trading cryptocurrency. That is the best way to do it, is my VIP, my lifetime, and the most effective is my mastermind. But yeah, you guys can go ahead and sign up for this if it's something you're interested in. If not, you can keep watching my free videos and learning from them. I completely respect that, especially since some people may not have enough to quite get into paying for knowledge. But I will say that if you pay for knowledge, it will repay you back, especially this knowledge. So that's my opinion on that. But I appreciate everybody that tuned into my stream today. It's been pretty crazy for me this week. I'm actually staying in this crazy cabin clear out in Sundance, which is a place in Utah where they do film festivals, actually some of the biggest film festivals in the world. Indie film festivals, actually, I believe. So I'm just in this crazy log cabin, Airbnb right now. Been working on some stuff like that. 2018 is going to be a great year for everybody. I'm glad that we've all been profiting and learning. If you guys have any urgent questions and you're a VIP member, because generally anything urgent I don't get to unless you're a paid member, just go ahead and use the urgent thing in the title of any emails. But I will say that, you know, I want that to be somewhat legitimately urgent. Don't abuse that power. And again, you also have to mention that you're a VIP, because I get a lot of emails, so average people, I can't quite get around to all of them. I try to get to many of them, but not all of them. So I appreciate you all. Hope that you have an excellent week or two as we have more bullish movement coming in my eyes for crypto, and stay profitable out there. See you in the next stream.